All right, Lisa,
Yes.
how do you rate this group's return after Scandoval? How'd they do and who surprised you the most?
Oh, well, they all surprise me all the time at any given moment, but it was a little messy, and I tried to facilitate some kind of cohesion. But, you know, some people were listening and they thought, okay, I understand what you're saying, because it was brutal. Whatever he did, as I said right at the reunion, which I got like almost annihilated for, when I said, well, he didn't kill anybody, let's hold on. However brutal it was, you know, what he did, the actions, it kind of went on. When I was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and they were talking about it in the presidential roast, I thought, how on earth did this happen? It kind of, you know, or you go to Adele's concert and she'd be talking about what a schmuck he was. And I think it was a lot for him to endure, you know? I mean, he deserved a kick in the ass for sure, but he certainly got one, and then some.
I'm hoping we'll get to watch some growth from him this season. We're not going to get to see that from Rachel. How did you feel about her ultimately opting out of coming back and telling her side of the story?
Well, I actually spoke to her. I think probably I was the only one that did speak to her. She reached out to me about something that transpired in the show, and I called her and she picked up before I was going to just let sleeping dogs lie, so to speak. But I do think, you know, sometimes there's a moment when you should walk away, like I did on Housewives, when it all just felt just too much and, you know, I wasn't in a good place and maybe she didn't feel strong enough to handle it. But I think it would have behooved her to have come back and shown some level of understanding of what she'd created and some kind of remorse in a karma, and she could have done that with me, because, you know, I've always been the person that's tried to be not so judgmental, to try and listen and steer and guide.
She is now telling her side of things on her podcast, and she's had some comments about you, and
What did you say about me? God,
she says she feels betrayed by rehoming the dog she returned to Vanderpump Dogs
Well, you're gonna
with
see
James.
that. Okay, well, okay, if that's the way she feels betrayed, look, I've saved thousands and thousands of dogs. That's something that I think I know a little better than her. You will see on the show, and she didn't even know where the dog is. So what kind of owner is that? There you are, now shove it.
All right. Where do you think this group
And
goes?
by the way, to have Vanderpump Dog Foundation see the success of banning the dog meat trade in South Korea, we've shouted it from the steps of Congress, so to see like growth like that, amazing.
You've changed the world.
Now, if I could just change this group.
Well, where do you think this group goes from here? You know where things end this season. Does this feel like a final chapter for anyone?
I think about 5 years ago felt like the final chapter, and then it keeps going and going and going. There's always story. It's almost like, you know, if they didn't spend time together, but they spend time together. I mean, these two bought a house next door to each other, for goodness sake. So, you know, it just keeps going.
It just keeps going. There was a blast from the past coming on this season, Jax Taylor. What was it like to see him again?
The trailer, you saw, called him a effing hypocrite, I think it was. Yeah, well, sometimes he needs to be put in his place, and I'm probably the one to do it. But his back and his show is, which I'm also an executive producer on, so I have to support that as well.